From the mind that made the world to the awareness that is prior to the making. If materialism has a mirror image, it is idealism. Where materialism says everything is physical, idealism says everything is mental. The material world is not the bedrock from which consciousness emerges. Consciousness is the bedrock from which the appearance of a material world is constructed. The tree falling in the forest makes no sound if no mind is present, not because sound requires ears, but because the forest itself is a construction of mind. This tradition runs deep. Berkeley, esse, percipi. To be is to be perceived. Hegel's absolute idealism. Reality is the self-unfolding of spirit. The Yogacara school of Buddhism. Consciousness only, citta-matra. The experienced world is a projection of the store consciousness, the alaya-vijnana. Aspects of Vedanta. The world is Maya, the creative power of Brahman appearing as if external. And idealism has real strengths that materialism struggles with. The hard problem of consciousness dissolves. If everything is mental, there is no mystery of how mind arises from matter. Mind is already there. The question is only why it appears as if there were a material world outside. But the trap is already open. If the world is made of mind, whose mind? Not yours. The world existed before you were born. It will continue after you die. The dinosaurs existed before any human mind was present. The Big Bang preceded all biological consciousness by approximately 13.5 billion years. So, a universal mind, a cosmic consciousness of which individual minds are expressions. The world is the universal mind's dream, or its thought, or its self-expression. But the universal mind is not a bigger version of your mind. Your mind has contents, thoughts, feelings, memories, perceptions. The universal mind does not have your thoughts. It is not made of the same stuff as individual cognition. In trying to make everything mental, idealism produces a mind that is so unlike your mind that calling it mind requires the same conceptual stretching that materialism requires to produce consciousness from matter. The trap. Replace the mystery of consciousness emerging from matter with the mystery of a universal mind that is prior to both matter and individual consciousness. Both directions leave you at the same door. Subjective idealism. Only your mind exists. The external world is your perception. Logically airtight. Also, solipsism. The other people in your life, the history before your birth, the suffering of people you will never meet, all projections of your individual consciousness. This is not a philosophy, it is a pathology. Absolute idealism. The world is the self-unfolding of spirit, of which individual consciousness is a temporary expression, more sophisticated. Also, spirit has done so much conceptual work that it is no longer clear what it means. It is not the consciousness you have. It is prior to it. In what sense is it mind? Neutral monism. Mind and matter are both expressions of something that is neither mind nor matter, avoids both the hard problem and the idealist trap. Also, what is the neutral substrate? It is described by what it is not by what it is. 3 exits, 3 sealed doors. In one frame, the idealist argument. The world constructed by mind, the convincing case that experience is always mental, the evidence that perception actively constructs rather than passively receives, the deep plausibility of a reality that is, at its root, experiential rather than material. In the other frame, the awareness prior to the argument, the awareness that is not the universal mind of idealism, not a cosmic consciousness that produced the world through its thinking, the awareness that is simpler than any theory about it, prior to the materialist theory, prior to the idealist theory, prior to the neutral monist theory. The awareness that is reading this is not a product of matter, and it is not the universal mind that made the world. It is prior to both. Two scholars debated endlessly. "The house is made of bricks," said the first. "The house is made of the idea of bricks," said the second. They argued for decades. A third person arrived and walked into the house. "What is the house made of?" they asked her. She looked around. She sat in a chair. She looked through a window at the garden. "The house is made of experience," she said. "But I am not the house, and I am not the experience. I am what the experience is occurring in." "Is that matter or mind?" asked the first scholar. "It is prior to the question," she said. Shankara distinguishes three levels: the empirical, the ordinary world of matter and mind, both real at their level; the vyavaharika, the philosophical, the examination of what the empirical world is made of, which yields either matter or mind depending on where you start; the paramartha, the ultimate, prior to both, not accessible through either materialist or idealist analysis. At the ultimate level, not matter, not mind, not the universal mind of cosmic idealism. Brahman, the awareness that is prior to the distinction between inside and outside, prior to the distinction between the experiencer and the experienced, prior to the distinction between matter and mind. The world is not made of your mind. Your mind is not made of matter. Both are made of what you are, which is what both are appearing in. Not the universal mind, not the universal matter. The universal awareness, prior to the division, prior to the debate, already here,